Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Caleb Likes Metal. Today I have my monthly album listens that I heard in September of 2025, talking about a few of the albums that I listened to this month. I'm not actually going to be going over everything that I heard this month, whereas the last couple months I have talked about everything. I actually listened to a few more albums than I'm going to be talking about here, so I'll put those on the screen here so you can see the other ones that I checked out. I did enjoy all of these, but I just don't have as much to say about them. So I'm going to be focusing on some other stuff. Most of these were new releases. Actually, most of what I listened to this month in general was new releases, but even out of these ones I'm talking about, I have 6 albums that I'm going to talk about, and 5 of them were brand new this month. Yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. So first things first, I checked out the new EP by Synestia called Premonitions. Synestia is a band that I have been a fan of since their EP with Disembodied Tyrant came out called The Poetic Edda, which is an incredibly good symphonic deathcore EP. And after I heard that, I think the same day I went and listened to their first album, which I really enjoyed. And these guys are a really cool band. I really like them. Kind of that symphonic deathcore kind of thing. If you enjoyed that, you'll probably enjoy these guys. And I was curious to check this EP out, considering that, the Poetic Edda came out, which is a little bit of a change in style. It was still symphonic deathcore like their previous stuff was, but it was a little bit different. It has felt a little different. And this EP, I listened to the singles from it that came out, and it felt much more in the vein of Poetic Edda than their first album. So I was curious to see what it would turn out like, and I really enjoyed this EP. It was really, really good. Just fantastic, deathcore stuff. Symphonic deathcore, I think, is quickly becoming one of, if not arguably even my favorite genre of metal. And so I really enjoyed this. And the title track from this EP is one of my favorite songs of the year, hands down. I absolutely loved it. And really good EP. I would definitely recommend checking it out if it sounds interesting to you.
Lost in your convolution, depleting love.
Next, we had one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and I actually had a couple of these this month, which was exciting. I had the new album by Demon Hunter, which is called There Was a Light Here. I have been a fan of Demon Hunter for quite a while now. They were one of the first bands that got me into metal back around 2013 or so, and I've been a big fan of them ever since. And I was really excited for this album because I really enjoyed the singles, at least the couple that I heard. With this album, as well as most others that come out, I tend to only listen to a couple of singles so that I don't spoil too much of the album, because I want most of it to be fresh when I go to listen to the whole thing. So I think I only listened to the first 3 singles from this album, even though I think there was 5 that came out. But I really enjoyed those singles, and I really enjoyed this album. I was really interested in checking it out because, first of all, Demon Hunter is one of my favorite bands, but also their previous album, Exile, is, in my opinion, one of their absolute best albums. I'd probably say it's my second favorite Demon Hunter album, and I don't think I liked this one quite as much, but it was still really good. Kind of had a little bit more of an old school Demon Hunter feel to it that kind of called back to well, maybe not quite old school, but kind of more in the vein of some of their older stuff, because Exile was a little more experimental. So this one felt kind of calling back to something like Outlive or Extremist, which Extremist is my favorite album by Demon Hunter. So I really enjoyed kind of getting a little bit more back to basics feel with this album. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Lots of good songs on here, like Sorrow Light the Way is probably my favorite. I really like I'm Done as well. And the title track is amazing. Really good ballad and very emotionally touching, considering the subject matter. A lot of this album was written kind of in memory of Ryan Clark, the vocalist of the band, his mom who passed away a little while ago. And so that song, I think, was really good at kind of getting that emotionality, I guess, across. And a really good album overall. Not one of my favorite Demon Hunter albums, at least at this point, but I really enjoyed it. Probably my other most anticipated release for this month was the new Lorna album, I Feel the Everblack Festering Within Me, which going into this was a little weird because I loved their previous album, Pain Remains. I loved the EP that came before that, and I Returned to Nothingness. And I really enjoyed the album that came before that as well, which was Immortal. I've heard most of their older stuff as well, but I'm mostly more so into their more modern stuff, because I really love like the really symphonic sound that they have. But I was interested in this album because I was really curious to see how they would follow up Pain Remains, their previous album. And I listened to the first few singles for this album. I think they released 3 or 4. I think I heard the first 2. So I heard Oblivion and Unbreakable, both of which I really enjoyed. But it did kind of, in some ways, like it felt a little bit different to me, but it also felt a little like more of the same. So I was curious to see what they would do with this album, and I honestly was kind of blown away by this album. Like, it is still very much like Lorna Shore as you would know them from their previous album, but it did do things a little differently here and there, and was also just really well done. Like, I think this album may actually be better than Pain Remains. Like, a lot of songs on here, like, I loved Glenwood, that was a really good song. I loved Unbreakable as well. And possibly my favorite Lorna Shore song at the moment that has ever been released is the last song on the album, which is called Forevermore, which is just an amazing song. And they really kind of brought up like the melodic aspects on this album. A lot of the like some of the songs are pretty dark and foreboding and stuff, and then a lot of them are also very uplifting and melodic, which I really enjoyed. And just in general, a lot of things about this album kind of did what I've been wanting Lorna Shore to do with songs, like I said, like Glenwood or like Forevermore or another one like In Darkness, for example. Just a lot of really great stuff on here, and in my opinion, may be my new favorite Lorna Shore album. We'll see how that holds up with time, but I really enjoyed this one. You can drag me through the fire. Then I also checked out the new I Prevail album, which is called Violent Nature. This one also was a little weird going into because it is their first album without their clean vocalist that they had since they started, Brian, who is now kind of doing his own solo project. And I was really curious how this would go without him because his voice was one of the things that really drew me to this band. And I was interested in seeing how their screen vocalist, Eric, who kind of took up clean vocal duties on this album as well, I was curious to see how he would handle it. And in general, I think this album was decent. I hate to kind of be that person that's like, oh, it's so much more disappointing when Brian's not in it, but it does feel like a lot of what I liked about I Prevail, especially their previous album, True Power, which I love. I still love that album. But it feels like a lot of what I really enjoyed about this band, a lot of the things that I thought that they really brought to the table in terms of doing something really interesting, feels like it kind of left with Brian, both with his vocals and also certain elements of the music itself are just not there that I really liked. And this album did still do some cool things, like it had a few, solid like metalcore songs on it. And I did enjoy the heavier side of this album as well. It had like the title track, Violent Nature, and there was another song that I can't remember the name of. But there's a couple really heavy songs on this album that were kind of different from what I would expect from I Prevail, which was, was kind of fun to see. And I did enjoy those songs. But in general, it felt like this album, to me, was just really lacking something. And I honestly didn't think this album was all that amazing. Like, to me, it was just very okay, which is a shame. And I hate to, be spending part of this video talking about an album that I didn't care for as much, but this was one of the more notable albums that I listened to this month, so I did want to talk about it. Yeah, was a little disappointed by this one, but it still had a couple songs on it that I did enjoy. The one older release on this list that I listened to this month is Cries of the Past by Underoath. I had heard a handful of Underoath's albums prior to this. I had heard They're Only Chasing Safety and Define the Great Line, I believe is the name of it. They're two kind of classic albums that everybody knows, and I really enjoyed those. I especially really loved They're Only Chasing Safety. And for a long time I've been curious to check out their older stuff because I've heard that their first handful of albums that came out just prior to those two albums that I talked about are very different. And things like that, and I want to check out some of their newer stuff too. But I was really curious to check out their older stuff, so this is their second album, and it sounds like nothing like those two kind of classic Underoath albums, which is really funny to me. Like this is just straight up like mostly a melodic blackened death metal album to me, and it was really cool and different from what I would expect from them, and I really liked it. It was very unexpected, but it was really cool, and I had a really good time with it. If you are one of those people, like, Underoath is one of those bands that I feel like a lot of, like, more, like, metal-leaning people, like people who are into, like, extreme metal or things like that, aren't necessarily going to be into their stuff sometimes, like, maybe just won't be into that more kind of emo-style music that they were kind of known for when they were really big back in the 2000s. Check out this album, because I think you might really enjoy it. It's very different from the other stuff of theirs that I've heard, and definitely leans much more, like I said, like kind of melodic death metal, black metal kind of thing. It's really, really cool. And the last thing that I checked out this month that I'm going to be talking about is an EP from President called King of Terrors. This is kind of a band that kind of came out of nowhere and got really big kind of very suddenly. And I've been really curious to see what they were going to do with their album or EP or whatever it is that they were going to come out with, because I did enjoy, I checked out the first two singles from this, which were In the Name of the Father and Fearless, and then I decided to save the rest for when the full EP came out. And I was really curious about it because I love In the Name of the Father. I think that's a fantastic song. And Fearless I was kind of mixed on when it came out, but after listening to it a couple more times, including with this full EP, I have come around to it a little bit more. But unfortunately, kind of similar to Violent Nature, I thought this one was a little disappointing. I did enjoy the final song on it, which I believe is called Conclave, which is a little bit of a different song for the EP, something a little bit more unique, which was pretty cool. But a lot of like the middle part of this just didn't quite hit for me, and in my opinion, nothing on this EP was as good as that first single, In the Name of the Father, which definitely is like a little bit of a generic modern metalcore song. Like, I fully acknowledge that, but I still really enjoyed it. And but yeah, this EP, like, I can see the potential there, but some of it just didn't quite do it for me. But it was still okay. It was still pretty decent. I did have a couple songs on it that I did enjoy a decent amount, so I guess there's that one as well. So that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you guys heard any of these or any of the albums that I didn't talk about, but I also heard in September. Let me know if you've heard any of those and what you thought of them if you have, and if you listened to anything cool recently, let me know that down in the comments as well. I'm sure there's plenty of other new releases and things that I missed out on and things like that, but still some really cool stuff that I heard this month, and a lot also that I'm excited to come out in October. Like, I'm really excited for the new Orbit Culture album. That is one I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, lots of cool stuff to come. So that is pretty much it for this one. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.